Welcome to the Great Awakening, Divine People. It's Mermaid Tales, and today I'm back finishing up the zodiac readings. So this is going to be June 2022's reading for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So like I did in the other readings, I'm going to pull from a tarot deck, the Starseed Oracle, and the Energy Oracle. So let's go ahead and get started with your reading. Okay, it's interesting I'm starting with the tarot decks for your reading, Scorpio, because I started with the Energy Oracle for most of them. Now I'm seeing this Ten of Wands energy. I'm not sure whether it came out in reverse or not, just because of the way it fell when I picked it up. It was in reverse. So I feel like this is going to depend on your specific situation with how this energy resonates in your life. But the Ten of Wands usually talks about someone being overworked, someone carrying too much load, too much responsibility. I was definitely getting messages about that before pulling the cards for your reading. So just trying to keep it together while holding a lot of different things at once. And something that's going to help with your June Scorpio is making sure that you're plugged into your high priest or high priestess energy. So when you're balancing a lot of responsibility, a lot of burden, when you're just going through a phase where there's lots of challenges and there's phases, we all go through these phases, just like there is a winter season, there's always sort of like a darker season where you're doing some uprooting, when you're seeing what responsibilities you want to keep in your life and what you want to release. We all need to go through this kind of change momentum energy in order to make it to a new beginning. And what's going to help you with this energy, Scorpio, is just plugging into your spiritual side. That's something that's always going to help you in life. So whether you're a Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising, when you feel like things are becoming overwhelming, when you feel like there's so much more responsibilities than you have energy for, just meditate, tap into your own sense of spirituality, whatever that looks like for you, whether that's through a religion or through spiritual principles, meditations, affirmations, however you plug into your spirituality. I just highly recommend you do when you're in these challenging periods, because if you don't, you have the chance of being overwhelmed and overcome by your emotion. And as a water sign, Scorpio, whether it's Sun, Moon, or Rising, when you feel emotions, you feel it very intensely. So just a way to help out with that so you don't spiral. A lot of Scorpios get caught in these traps of spiraling through these shadow phases and getting stuck in this Ten of Wands energy, where you're just so overwhelmed, so much responsibility, and to the point where you may just want to throw all those responsibilities away. And some of you may go through those patterns where you throw all your responsibilities away and then you pick them up, but you pick up too much, so you just go in this black and white kind of energy. That's a big way to describe Scorpio energy. Very black and white, very all or nothing, very intense, or either very intense or very dull. And Scorpios can't really take that dull energy. So yes, this is just saying, in order to help balance out those extremes that you're just naturally going to feel with being a part of this Scorpio archetype energy, just tap into your sense of spirituality. So let me pull some cards from the Energy Oracle. And some of you, the reason why this is coming out is because some of you just may already be doing this in your month of June. You're noticing that carrying the responsibilities, this load is just weighing you down more and more. So the way to get uplifted so that you're able to have space to carry all of this is by tuning into your spirituality. Wow, Scorpio, so you also have cornucopia. So the reason why you want to do this also, the reason why you want to make sure that you do this, Scorpio, is because there's reward coming. You know, this cornucopia energy, there's a reason why you're carrying as much as you're carrying. Because when you release it, you're going to have all this space for whatever you have been preparing for, whatever carrying all these responsibilities have done in your life. The message for you, Scorpio, is that in June, just pay attention to what falls out. Whatever that means for you. I feel like this has to do with whatever responsibilities you're holding. It's like there are going to be things naturally falling out of your life in the month of June, and just allow them to happen. In addition to connecting to your spirituality, you want to connect with your ancestors. That's what this temple card is about. So you are going to be connecting with your ancestors. Now this could be just relatives that are alive, specifically older relatives, but it doesn't have to be. It's just like whatever relatives you have, or if you're more connected into your spirituality, you could be connecting with your ancestors through that way. But with all of these responsibilities, it's important to see what falls out, because there are many different new beginnings that are available. It looks for me like timelines, right? Depending on how much you know about this information, there could just be many different directions or paths. That's another way to look at timelines. There's many paths that your life can go right now, and this is all going to depend on what falls out of your life in June, right? That's going to depend on what path you're going to go down. So just pay attention to what falls out of your life so that you don't pick it back up. That's a big important message for you. There could be something like you all, again, I'm getting this energy of dropping a certain responsibility, but then picking it back up for whatever reason. And being a Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising, that likely has something to do with emotions, like your emotions pulling you to pick up some kind of responsibility. But in not picking it up, you have this cornucopia energy, and you also have this door to value energy. So there's a potential of being rewarded. I'm also seeing door to romance on the bottom of the deck. So there really is this big potential, Scorpio, of being rewarded for the hard work and responsibilities. And that's another reason why some of you may pick up a certain responsibility. It could be really fulfilling for you. The only thing is it's taking up space in your life, and it can lead you down the same kind of pathway where you're caught in the loop, you know, instead of going down a new direction. So this also can look like something from your past. It is not being advised, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising, that you pick up anyone or anything from your past, because you're meant to go down a new direction. Many of you may feel like your life is headed one way in June, but once June happens, you'll see some kind of new door, new path, new opportunity available that can change your life, that can shift your life in a direction where you do feel like there's more love, more money coming in. So this can potentially be a really good month for you, Scorpio. Again, this is just going to depend on how much you are holding. Some of you are meant to hold a lot, because it's gonna basically lead to you making, like, maybe some of you, like, you are working a lot, and there's going to be some kind of bonus or something that comes with the hard work that you have been putting in. So very interesting energy, Scorpio. I'm going to finish out your reading by pulling a card from the Starseed Oracle. But overall, I feel like your June is going to be great. You know, whether you repeat the same thing, because there's always a reward at the end of it, I feel like that'll be fine too. But again, the main message I'm getting is something new is supposed to be coming in. So the cards that came out for you from the Starseed Oracle are loosen your grip. It says coping mechanisms, density, addiction, let God in. So some of you, like, well, Scorpio, there's a very Scorpio kind of energy, just really holding on to something. It's connected to your sense of abundance and spirituality. So I just see like this flip-flopping energy. Like when you are into your spirituality, you may be really into it, but when you put it down, you may either like be averse to it. Like anyone or anything representing your spirituality may just like may really turn you off, or may really just like put up some kind of defense with you. So it's very interesting. I also see that something that you all may have been picking up was related to some kind of addiction. Addictions are very, very prevalent in the Scorpio archetype because of the intense emotions. Now, introducing some kind of, and it doesn't just have to be drugs, it could be gambling, it could be gaming, you know, like there's usually some kind of addiction that Scorpios get caught up in because you love that intense emotion, and also to sort of numb out those intense, when you're feeling intense emotion and you really don't want to be in that energy, to help nullify that. So there could have been some kind of addictive pattern that you are getting into that was impacting, you know, your spiritual connection and then your sense of abundance with this cornucopia kind of energy. So if that was the case for you, Scorpio, the recommendation for your June is just loosen your grip. build up your coping mechanisms, build up your coping skills, instead of just like turning to drugs, or turning to sex, or turning to gaming, or turning to something like that. Just develop a healthy coping skill for dealing with it, and that's going to lead to a better June for you as well. You know, like if every time you get into an argument with someone, with your partner, you go off and cheat on them, that's not really a healthy coping skill or coping mechanism, and it's likely going to end up not only hurting your partner, but really hurting and putting yourself in danger. That's a very risky kind of behavior, and I'm not saying it with judgment. I'm just saying, like, you know, I can rationalize and speak through why you may have developed that, and it's not, of course, not for everyone. There's just a select few, but you can think about why you may have developed that as a coping skill, and it's just it likely has to do with alleviating that high emotion, right? Like feeling something good so that you don't feel something bad. But then that just leads to more intense emotions in the long run after you think about what you did, or maybe you get caught with what you did, you know? It's just leading to these negative kind of patterns. And for some of you, you just may be addicted to those patterns, addicted to that, to those extreme patterns in relationships. So again, just doing what you have to do, whether that's going to therapy to get some insight on this. Just I always recommend that, especially for people with that Scorpio energy. You can also just like do work on your own emotion regulation. Look up what emotional regulation is and how to regulate your emotions in a more adaptive and healthy way, instead of turning to like drugs or something like that, like I was saying before. But the final energy that came out for the final card is the blue flame. It says spontaneous awakening, activation, integration time. So this is a big spiritual month for you, Scorpio. Some of you are already going to go into June understanding this, because you have been feeling some kind of spiritual awakening energy. You have been connected to your ancestors and seeing the signs of the different potentials. But I do feel like some of you were coming out of that phase where you were working so much and had so much responsibility that you were kind of blocking out your spirituality. But these are the messages I have for your June, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Please let me know in the comments below how this resonated with you, and I'll see you all in the next